Welcome back. Today we're talking about inside and outside angles of a circle. Before we get started on that though, let's go back to our inscribed angles where you have an angle that is on the circle. So this angle right here, where your vertex is on your circle, like an inscribed angle, it's going to have the same rules as an inscribed angle, meaning this angle measure is going to be half of the arc that it makes. So if this angle had a measure of x, the arc is going to be 2x. So let's try that one out. This angle here is 50 degrees, which means this arc around here should equal 100 degrees. But they're telling you the measure of that arc is going to be 33x plus 1. So I'm going to set 33x plus 1 equal to 100 degrees. Again, your angle is 50 and the arc is going to be twice that at 100. So I just solve for x here. Subtracting 1 from both sides, I'm going to get 33x is equal to 99. Which means x is equal to 3. All right, now looking at when an angle is inside the circle. Now don't get confused. I am not talking about this type of an angle, because I know this type of an angle is going to be a central angle where the vertex is the center of your circle. That's not what I'm talking about. Over here, I don't know that it's going through the center. Okay, so these are completely different. The central angle we know is exactly the same. That's not true for an angle that is just somewhere, not the center, inside your circle. For inside your circle, this angle, measure of angle LKM, is going to be equal to, first of all, we know that this and this are going to be exactly the same because of vertical angles. The measure of that angle is going to be the average of the arcs that it makes. And it makes this arc right here and this arc right here. Again, so we're looking at the average. So the way that you do this, you're going to take your inside angle. Inside angle is equal to 1/2 of arc 1 plus arc 2. And the arc 1 and 2 are referring to the two arcs that the angle is creating. So I'm going to get my measure of angle LKM is equal to 1/2 of 120 plus 84. 120 plus 84 is going to give me 204. And half of that means the measure of angle LKM is equal to 102. So let's try another one just like that. Again, it is the angle that creates that arc. So if I'm looking at this arc and this arc, they are created by this angle and this angle. Well, I don't know what this angle is yet. I know this guy here is 79, and these two together are a linear pair, which means this angle should be 101. And this angle is also 101 since vertical angles. So now you have the angle that made it 101 is equal to the average of your two arcs, which is going to be 3x plus 14 plus 152. Again, I'm taking the average of the two arcs that it makes, this guy here and this guy right here. So I'm going to combine like terms. 101 is equal to 1/2 of 3x. I'm going to combine 14 and 152, which is going to give me 166. And then I want to get rid of this half. I don't really want to distribute in here because I'm going to be deft with a fraction because I can't divide 3 evenly. So I just want to get rid of this half, which means I'm going to multiply both sides by 2. And when I do that, my 2 and my 1/2 cancel, leaving me with 3x plus 166. And then 2 times 101 is going to give me 202. Then subtracting 166 from both sides, I'm going to get 36 is equal to 3x and divide both sides by 3. So I get x is equal to 12. So that's when I have an angle inside the circle that's not going through the center, and then I have when an angle is outside the circle. I have this angle, KCA. With that angle, I create two arcs, this arc and this arc. When you have an angle that is outside, your outside angle is equal to 1/2 of your big arc minus your little arc. So my outside angle, I know angle C is going to be equal to 1/2 of my big arc, which happens to be 145, minus the little arc, which is 49. So if you're an inside angle, you add. If you're an outside angle, we are going to subtract. Outside, subtract, take away. I'm going to get the measure of angle C is equal to 1/2 of 145 minus 49 is going to leave me with 96. And then I want half of 96, so the measure of angle C is going to be equal to 48. That's if my angle is outside. So I'm going to extend this angle and look at the two arcs that are created. Big arc minus little arc. It always has to be a big arc because you can't have a negative degree there. So let's try one here. If I open up this angle, here are my two arcs that are created. So I know my outside angle is going to be 55, and that's going to be equal to 1/2 of 180 minus, now this is where students make their mistake. It is minus 8x minus 2. Now this is really, 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 really important. When you are subtracting, and you're subtracting where you have two terms like this, you have to distribute. So you're going to get 55 is equal to 1/2 of 180 minus 8x, and negative times negative 2 is going to be positive 2. That's where everybody makes their mistake right here. They forget to distribute it right here. So make sure you do that when you are subtracting. Then I'm going to combine like terms. I'm going to get 55 is equal to 1/2 of 182 minus 8x. Now I can do this two ways. Here, I'm going to show you two different ways on how to do this. I can go ahead and distribute this half into both of these because these are both even numbers. But if by chance it wasn't, you'd want to multiply by 2. So I'm going to show you just two different ways on how to do this. So one way would be if I go ahead and distribute, I would get 55 is equal to half of 182 is going to give me 91 minus 4x. And then subtracting 91 from both sides, I'm going to get negative 36 is equal to negative 4x divided by negative 4, so x is equal to 9. Or if I had my 55 is equal to 1/2 182 minus 8x, again, if these weren't even numbers in here, I'd want to multiply both sides by 2. So my half and the 2 would cancel. 2 times 55 would give me 110. And that would be equal to 182 minus 8x. Subtracting 182 from both sides, I get negative 72 is equal to negative 8x, which means x is equal to 9. So again, I just wanted to show you this, just so you know when you're multiplying the 2, it only cancels with this half. Okay? And again, this is really important up here that you have to distribute this negative when you have a binomial here. All right, so go ahead and pause and see if you can figure this one out on your own. I have an outside angle, which means I'm going to have to subtract my big arc minus my little arc. Well, I don't know the measure of my little arc, so there's something else I'm going to have to do first. To figure out what my little arc is, I'm going to have to look at the angles that created him. And I know these two are the same again because they're vertical angles. So I'm going to look at these two at an inside angle, which means I'm going to take the average. 61 is going to be equal to, I'm going to call this guy y. 61 is going to be equal to 1/2 of 101 plus y. Here, I'm going to multiply both sides by 2. So I'm going to get 122 is equal to 101 plus y. And subtracting 101 from both sides, I get y is equal to 21. So right here, this guy is going to be 21. Now that helps me figure out my outside angle, because my outside angle I'm going to subtract. So I know that x is going to be equal to 1/2 of the big arc that the angle created, which is 101, and then my little arc, which is 21. So I'm going to get 101 minus 21. 1/2 of 101 minus 21 is going to be 80. And half of 80, I get x is equal to 40. All right, so I hope that helps you with your homework tonight. If you have any questions, go ahead and text me. Thanks, guys.